The internet is a big place, but it doesn't have to be scary. Like any quest, we have to make sure we're all prepped and ready to explore before venturing into unknown territory. Welcome to How2Internet, a new series brought to you by MediaWise and PBS Student Reporting Labs to help you learn all the skills that will guide you on your journey to becoming a good digital citizen. Today, we're learning about the ways news and media are delivered to us. More specifically, how to figure out if something is fact or opinion. One note. This is the third episode of the series, so you might want to catch up on the first two before watching this one to make sure you're up to speed. A 2018 study showed that fewer than 14% of American 15-year-olds were able to tell the difference between fact and opinion. They gave teens examples like this: drinking milk is the best way to lose weight, and told them that it was a statement from the International Dairy Foods Association. So what would you say this is an example of? Fact or opinion? I'll give you a few seconds, but you can pause the video if you needed to. Let's break it down. The statement is from the International Dairy Foods Association, which is a legit organization. But let's think about why they're saying milk is the best way to lose weight. They're not a news organization, so they're not really under any obligation to give you unbiased facts, but they are in the business of milk. So of course, they want everyone to be drinking more of it. Saying drinking milk is the best way to lose weight is an opinion because, first of all, who's to say whether that's the best option for you? Second, what do they mean by best? What is this measured against? Others might think milk is best, but that doesn't mean I have to, and that's kind of the definition of an opinion. It's what someone thinks and cannot be proven as true. On the other hand, if I said milk is a nutrient-rich liquid produced by mammals for the nourishment of their offspring, you wouldn't really be able to argue with that because it is a fact. It is probably true. Quiz time. Here are some other facts and opinions. Can you tell which is which? Feel free to pause the video if you need to. Her hair is brown. Her hair is beautiful. Their purple sneakers are cool. They are wearing purple sneakers. Miss D teaches English. Miss D is the best English teacher in the school. How did you do? Now that we've cleared up facts and opinions, let's investigate the difference between objective and subjective news. Objective news is when you see a story that has facts about an event or subject. It has no opinions and should be straightforward. You can identify a good objective story by identifying the 5 W's of news. Who was there? What were they doing? When was it? Where was it? And why did it happen? And for a bonus, what's the impact of this story? If you can answer all of those without an opinion or slant, chances are you're looking at an objective story. Here in the US, objective news outlets include the Associated Press, Reuters, and oftentimes your local TV station or newspaper. Now let's talk about the spicier side. Subjective columns or commentary contain the author's opinion. You can find these on social media, TV, and obviously the opinion section of the newspaper. Subjective news isn't necessarily good or bad. It just means that someone is inserting their experience in order to get others to see where they're coming from, or to get a conversation going. The trick for the reader or viewer is being able to distinguish between the two. Let's look at the different types of news media we consume, meaning print newspapers, online newspapers, TV, and social media, to name a few. It's going to be easiest to differentiate the types of stories with newspapers, whether it's in real life or online. That's because a legit newspaper will make it so each section is properly labeled, including the opinion section. Did you know that it's common practice for newsrooms to separate their journalists from the people who work on the opinion section? This is done to lessen the contact between the two and minimize the chances of a reporter or columnist being swayed by the other. TV is a little trickier. Where legit newspapers and online news sites label their sections as news or opinion, it can get even blurrier with TV news. You might be watching a broadcast that started with news and then, with little notice, it switches to someone giving their opinion. Sometimes a label like commentator may be on the screen, but often it quickly disappears after a few seconds. Bottom line, TV news doesn't always make it clear if a story is pure fact or opinion while a show is running. And then, sometimes those TV clips get posted to social media with no context. That's why it's so important to pay attention to what you're watching. I know most of us are probably getting our news off social media these days. So, let's talk about a few ways we can differentiate fact versus opinion while online. A good tip is to look for labeled sections from reputable accounts. The problem is, not everyone is making their intentions clear. These lines are also starting to blur. Now, you might come across sites that look like legit news sources, but that are really what we call pink slime. Pink slime sites have content produced at a low cost and usually by automation. They seem to come from a reliable and objective local source, but often they're funded by outside companies with a partisan, meaning political, source of financing, one that has an interest in a certain type of coverage or avoidance of another. A reliable way to figure out if you're dealing with a pink slime site is to investigate its about page. What is its mission? Is it for profit, nonprofit? Who are the funders? Do the authors have bylines with bios? Does it seem to have an agenda or bias? If there is no about page, that's a big red flag. Legit news sites are always transparent about these kinds of things. These are all important questions to run through when you're deciding if a post or source is trustworthy. Next, let's talk about satire. Satire is often used in a humorous or exaggerated way to ridicule someone or something to make a point. It's not real, just jokes. Think Saturday Night Live, The Onion, and all those wannabe comedians on TikTok. Their goal might be to provide social commentary, get laughs and likes, or maybe just make a quick buck. Regardless of why, it's important that we as consumers know a joke when we see one. Often, we at the Teen Fact Checking Network have to debunk satirical claims because they're too believable. Our viewers don't watch until the end, which is where the creators might put a disclaimer. There aren't any official laws about satire. Some social media companies try to label content as satire, but that label is not consistent. So you're kind of on your own there. One last thing before we go. Social media is known for all its influencers, and those people's jobs are to try and influence you to buy more stuff. My advice, don't fall for it so quickly. The FTC requires advertisers and influencers to clearly disclose when they are promoting something. When you're looking at sponsored content from an influencer or company, you should always see a label that says something like sponsored, ad, or paid partnership. If you see that in the caption, it's a good reminder to take a step back and ask yourself if a product is actually good or if you're just seeing it because someone's getting paid to promote it. There you have it. Next time you hear someone complain that this column is so biased, you'll be able to tell them why. Thanks for joining us. Don't forget to connect with us on social for even more tips and tricks to help you take care of yourself online. Bye.
Don't compromise, be MediaWise.